and specifically the investments that are happening, that have been put in place by the government. Today we have 65 million people in India living with diabetes. This number is expected to go up to close to 100 million by 2030. Add to this the number of close to 80 million people who are pre-diabetic. So we pretty much have some sort of a health crisis. Now, when we think about diabetes itself as a disease, it's a chronic illness. It needs early screening, as was discussed earlier. It also needs a lot of coordination across the health providers, as well as it needs a lot of self-management on an ongoing basis to stem the disease. What we actually are talking about is a population health management solution. So along with the strategies, information technology can play a very big role in that. GE has specifically invested and bought 100% stake in a company called Caradigm, which primarily provides this. It's a US-based company. GE was in partnership with Microsoft at 50-50% stake for quite some time, and last year we bought over the entire stake on this company. We have close to 1,500 customers for population health management. What the solution does is it pulls together data, aggregates data across an entire population set that is described, that can be identified and controls, and there's a lot of health analytics that goes on. In addition to that, it also provides collaborative care management for patients. So when you pull all of these together, you really have a solution which is very robust and can be used for population health management. So this is a topic we could get into a little bit more detail later in the day. The second part we talked about quite a bit was affordability. And when we think about affordability, it really is, affordability and accessibility are very closely linked. And in some senses, there are two parts of the same coin. There are several models that also have been discussed of telemedicines. There are two in particular that I would like to highlight, where there's quite a bit of work that has happened by GE. One is FitiNext. This is an eICU solution by Fortis in partnership with GE. The technology is something, the digital technology is something that GE has provided. And this is Asia's first and longest running tele-ICU program. And today it treats over 500 critical patients monthly. So what tele-ICU does is it bridges the gap between the availability of intensivists who are critical to any ICU and make sure that these intensivists are available through a tele solution to remote tier 2 and tier 3 towns. So this is already a running solution, working great, and it'll be great to see this be taken to the next level of partnerships with industry bodies and the government. The second part is, let me just start with some statistics. If you look at India, in 2014, over 5 million people in India suffered a heart attack. Of this, 3 million did not survive, and from the other 2 million that survived, sustained irreparable damages to the heart. Now that again is the non-communicable disease which has to be arrested. We have a solution working with a company, a startup called Tricog, where what it does is there are ECG devices which are connected to the cloud. Now when these ECG devices are placed with a care provider, it could be a general physician or any small center, say a primary health center or in secondary towns, it sends the ECG scan reports to the cloud. And there are a set of cardiologists who can interpret that report and give back the results to the patient and the provider within a few minutes. So this also is a great model in some senses to bridge the gap of availability of I would say cardiologists in smaller towns, primary care centers and the like. And what we're doing along with this is also making sure that there are enough skills that are available with the general practitioners in the primary care centers. So when a person does arrive with some sort of a chest pain, they're able to tell the difference between a heart condition versus not a heart condition. And immediately, they have skills to go for an ECG scan and the interpretation comes back to them. So again, this is a model where you can, in a very real way, bridge the gap between the skills that are available typically in tertiary towns and in primary centers. With this, I would also like to introduce one more element. GE has started an accelerator called 5.8, and 5.8 represents 5.8 billion people globally who have very poor access to healthcare, which obviously includes a lot of the developing markets. And this accelerator specifically invests in startups which are looking at affordable care solutions. And Tricom, the model I talked about, is one such company that we have invested in. The third solution, we've discussed it extensively today, but skilling is very critical. And again, digital plays a very key role here. When at least we think about digital or skilling, it can have a big spectrum, right from skilling of, like I said, the general practitioners who are typically in tier 2 and 3 towns. When you think about non-communicable diseases, whether it is cancer or heart-related diseases, these people typically are the first point of contact for the patient. So it's very important for this individual to be able to tell the difference between TB and cancer, lung cancer. And that's a failing point often. So another big initiative is how do we get enough training going in this across the primary healthcare providers, as well as the other side of the spectrum is typically the technicians who operate the equipment the large medical equipment. So there's a whole spectrum of training, and we are evaluating different kinds of technologies from very simple connect through digital media with these potential receivers of the training, all the way through virtual reality. How do you put them in an environment where they can develop new skills at the same time, upgrade existing skills that they may have. The fourth proposal, and we talked a little bit about the different regulations, is about PNDT, the prenatal sex determination, and the act against it. So one proposal we already have on the table with the government is ePNDT, where we actually digitize the registration of all of the ultrasound devices and make it available to the appropriate stakeholders, such that the act can be consistently implemented across the board. And again, we feel this is a huge step forward for the industry as a whole. A couple other things. So as you know, in most of the devices, especially the scan devices that we have, radiation is a key therapy. At the same time, we all know the hazards of radiation. So we have another investment in what we call the dose watch, which is really about monitoring the amount of radiation that has to be administered for any specific scan. Now, imagine the possibilities of a technology like this. This can potentially be scaled to monitor and track the amount of radiation dose any individual receives over a period of time. It could become a part of their medical record. It could be integrated with Aadhaar or anything along those lines. So huge possibilities. We've started in that direction, and a lot of our new machines already have Dose Watch. There's a huge implementation at AIIMS with the new machines they have already, which has Dose Watch technology integrated in them. One other big piece that I would talk about is cloud-based solutions. So GE has now a secure cloud, which we call the GE Health Cloud. And this is, again, an intra-operable platform. Any third-party application related to healthcare can be hosted on it. It could be a customized application as well. So think about is as this bigger platform which has been customized with the right kind of protocols for the healthcare industry. And again, a huge investment that we have made, and great opportunity to partnership with the larger bodies and the government. I think those are the big things I wanted to highlight, and hopefully this is a seed for some thought as we get to deeper discussion later in the day. Thank you.